Welcome to Tao Free School. I'm Dunia and today we're going to review conditionals and mixed conditionals as well. Something new. First things first. Remember there are four main conditionals. 0, 1, 2, 3. Type 0 conditional or 0 conditional. It doesn't matter. When do we use this? When the condition takes place, there's always the same result. It's a fact, science, if you want to call it. For example, if you mix blue and yellow, the result is green. What's important about this one? Of course, it's obvious, it's always the same result. But did you notice I said if you mix present simple, the result is present simple. So the 0 conditional is always present. And we're talking about facts. Type 1 or first conditional, maybe the most famous one. We talk about conditions that probably will happen, and if this condition happens, there will be a result in the future. And it's probable that this happens. For example, if I study, I will pass my exam. So what's the condition? Study. What will be the result? Pass. Did you notice with the if clause, I used the present tense, if I study. In the result, what I used was the future, I will pass. That's the first conditional. Second conditional or conditional 2, you daydream. You talk about improbable situations, not impossible, but daydream. For example, if I were rich, I would buy a yacht. If I were rich, I would buy a yacht. Am I rich? No, but I'm daydreaming. And if I were rich, with the past simple, if I were rich, I would buy a yacht. That's what would happen if that was true, which is not. So past simple, and in the result, I use would or could, sentences like that. Conditional 3. I like to compare it with the Titanic. We're talking about hypothetical situations in the past. There's nothing we can do to change them. But we imagine, what if? If you think of the Titanic, it sank. I mean, nothing obvious, nothing can be done. But if there had been enough lifeboats, there would have been more survival. As you can see, I'm hypothesizing about the Titanic. What's the structure of the third conditional? I use the past perfect, if there had been, past perfect, and then in the result, would have and the verb in participle. If there had been enough lifeboats, there would have been more survival. Past perfect, would have, participle. So far so good. Now why did I explain this to you? Because in order to work with mixed conditionals, you need to bear in mind the second and the third. There are many options, but the most common ones are to mix the second and the third. Now, what are the mixed conditionals? If you look at this example, we can use the structure, the condition using the third conditional, so the past perfect, and in the result, we use the would from the second conditional. It's like you crisscross second and third conditional. If you had followed my advice, you wouldn't be in trouble now. If you had followed my advice in the past, which you didn't, right? If you had followed my advice in the past, now you would not be in trouble. This is maybe the one that is most similar to Spanish. Another example, if he had checked the map, he wouldn't be lost now. He did not check the map in the past. But if he had checked the map in the past, now he wouldn't be lost. So you see, there's a connection between a hypothetical action in the past and a result in the present. See if you can think of some example. We have started the condition with the third conditional and the result with the second. What are we going to do now? We're going to start the condition with the second conditional that is in the past simple and the result with the third conditional, would have, and the verb in participle. When do I use this one? We talk about something hypothetical now. For example, if I spoke better Italian, I don't, but if I spoke better Italian, I could have got the job. I did not get the job. we're talking about a condition in the present which has affected something in the past. If I spoke better Italian, I could have got the job. Or if I were a good cook, I would have invited them for dinner. So I did not invite them for dinner in the past because I am not a good cook. It's exactly the same. If I were a good cook, I would have invited them. Another example, if I weren't such a poor dancer, you would have got the job. If you weren't such a poor dancer, you would have got the job. So you see, for this one, I'm using if with the past simple to talk about present situations that have affected something, and now there's a result. Okay, so let's recap. We have 4 types of conditionals and then mixed conditionals. The type 0 conditionals, the ones that we use when we talked about facts or something that is always true. For example, if the food is out of date, I don't eat it. Present simple, always. If the food is out of date, I don't eat it. Conditional 1 or first conditional, we talk about present situations that will probably have an effect in the future. Imagine if you come to class, you are going to pass the exam, or if you come to class, you will pass the exam. I'm using the if with the present simple and then the result in the future. Second conditional or conditional 2, the one we used to daydream, to think, oh, I wish. It's not true. If I won the lottery, I would buy a mansion, for example. If I won the lottery, I would buy a mansion. The condition is with the past simple and the result is with this would, followed by the verb in infinitive, of course. Third conditional, the one we used to hypothesize, the one that there's nothing we can do to change. What if? For example, if you had not worn a helmet, you could have died. Very hard example, maybe. In the if, I use the past perfect. If you hadn't worn a helmet. And in the result, I use would or could have, followed by the verb in participle. If you hadn't worn the helmet, you could have died. And then the mix. The mix, remember, is when we kind of crisscross the second and the third. If you start with the condition in the past simple, second conditional, then the result will be from the third conditional, would or could have, followed by the verb in participle. And if you start the condition with the past perfect, which is third conditional, you finish it with would, followed by the verb in infinitive, which is the second conditional. Easy peasy. If you have questions, doubts, comments, please feel free. Take care. Bye.